Hello again. We're going to do some dictation today. Again, we're going to do more rhythmic dictation. All the rhythmic dictation from the previous videos was in simple meter, so today we're doing some rhythmic dictation in compound meters. We're going to go about this the same way that we did the others, so you already are familiar with how that's going to work, but we'll just listening for compound meters instead. So hopefully through this you will also learn to kind of distinguish the difference between the way that simple meter and compound meter sound, because they do have that fundamental difference. Remember that in simple meter all of the beats are divided equally into two parts. In compound meter all of the beats are divided equally into three parts. So I have a few laid out here that we're going to do in a second, but before we begin I want to talk about some of the rhythmic values that you'll commonly see in a compound meter. So down here I have a few different values that can handle one beat. So if we're in any of the meters that I put up here, 6/8, 9/8, or 12/8, and those are the ones that you will be seeing the most commonly for now. If you're in any of those meters, then each of these four groupings can fit within one beat. Remember that in a meter like 6/8, the top number tells us how many divisions there are in each measure, and the bottom number tells us the unit of division. And we know that because compound meter divides each beat into three, that we can say if there are 6 divisions, then we know there are 2 beats in the measure. And if the 8th note is the division, 3 8th notes will equal the exact same space as one dotted quarter note. So we know from this that we have 2 beats in the measure, and the dotted quarter note gets the beat. So whenever we have an 8 on the bottom of a compound meter, we know that the dotted quarter note will get the beat. So here, all of these rhythms fill up the duration of one dotted quarter note. So you could have one dotted quarter note. This will sound for the full beat. It's a long note that sounds for the full beat. If you hear 3 notes that fit within one beat and they're all of equal length, then you're going to have 3 8th notes, just like this. This is just the division of the beat being played exactly as it is. And you'll notice that I connected these together as with a beam, because all of these notes belong to one beat, and we want everything within one beat to be beamed together. So we're going to beam to the beat, and because the dotted quarter note is the beat, these all get one beam. You could have a quarter note followed by an 8th note. This is also the same amount of total duration as these two, but just a little bit of a redistribution of how the rhythm works. So if you hear within one beat, you hear a long, short. This is this third one here, quarter then 8th. And you can reverse them and get a short, long, 8th, and then quarter. So what I'm going to do is give you a sense of how this feels. So I'm going to go ahead and count off 4 beats, and then I'm going to perform each of these 4 times in a row so that you can hear how they sound. Okay, so starting with the dotted quarter note. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ta 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 ta. So if you tap along with the beat, you can feel where that steady beat lies, and then within each beat you can think, does it sound like 2 notes that are long short or short long? You can narrow it down that way. Does it sound like the notes are equal? That would make them 3 equal notes, these 8th notes here. Or is it a note that spans for the whole beat? And that would be this dotted quarter note here. So in these rhythmic dictations and the ones on your quiz, you will only have those 4 possibilities for beats. So it'll help you narrow it down a little bit, and these are the most common rhythms that you see in these meters anyway. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. If you want to practice along with me, go ahead and write 6/8 and 3 empty measures, and we will go ahead and do a dictation. I'm going to do it like I did in the other video, except for this I'm only going to perform it twice. And if you want to hear it more times than that, that's totally fine. You can just rewind the video and listen to it more times than that. Okay, so one thing that I would recommend is drawing that grid above the staff to represent the eighth notes. That could help you. Or if you would rather just working with these, you could make a little shorthand of like which one do you hear. Do you hear the full beat? Do you hear three equal ones? Do you hear long short? Or do you hear short long? So you can use different ways. Whatever helps you is what you should be using. I'm going to go ahead and for the 6/8 I'm going to draw this grid. So instead of 2 eighth notes for each beat, because each beat has a division of 3, I'm going to draw my grid like this with 3 eighth notes. And I only have 3 measures, so it's not quite as long. Alright, I'll go ahead and perform the first hearing. You can tap along with me on the beat. I'll go ahead and count off 2 measures before I begin. And remember, I'm going to be counting in 2 because there are 2 beats in each measure. I'm not going to count in 6. That would be maybe doable for 6/8, but once we get to 12/8, trust me, you don't want me to count in 12. So 6/8 is 2 beats. I'm going to count in 2. I'll count off 2 measures of 2. And then I'll go ahead and start the first hearing. Okay, so 1 and 2 and 1, 2. Ta 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 ta. If you want to work, go ahead and pause or rewind if you want to hear it again. I'm going to go ahead and perform it the second time, and I will mark off on my grid the notes that I hear as I go. So if you've been marking your grid, you can follow along and see how well you've been doing. Here's your last hearing. Again, I'll count off 2 measures. 1 and 2 and 1, 2. Ta 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 ta. Ta 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 ta. Okay, so for sure in the last measure I heard 2 long notes, and then I heard the grouping of 3 and the long note. Here I heard a grouping of 3. This one was one of my groupings of 2, and if I'm paying attention, I heard that it was long short. So if I'm thinking of eighth notes, I know that the only way that I could make this work is by having the first part of the rhythm would take up the space of both of these eighth notes, and then the second part of the rhythm would take up the space of 1 eighth note. Okay, so if I were to go ahead and transfer this into notation, it would look like this. And you should be able to go ahead and perform this rhythm on your own and compare it to how I did it, and it should match. Okay, let's do the same thing for the 9/8 example. I apologize for the blurriness on here. I don't have like a focus button on this camera, so I'm having a little bit of trouble with that. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the 9/8. And this time, maybe let's try thinking about each of the 4 different types of rhythms that we're going to see, and plugging them in that way. So I'm going to go ahead and not do the grid, and instead I'm going to think about the different types of rhythms that are possible within each beat. Okay, so for 9/8 I am in 3. I have 3 beats in a measure, so I'm going to count off 2 measures of 3 before I start. And we'll do the same thing with this one. I'll give you 2 hearings. The first one I won't write anything, and then on the second one I'll tell you kind of how I'm thinking through it. Okay, so here's the first hearing. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3. Ta 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 ta. Go ahead and rewind if you want to hear it again. Otherwise, I'm going to move on. This is the last hearing. I'll do it the same way, and then after I do this, I will show you how I think through each of the 4 options. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3. Ta 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 ta. Alright, so if I had listened to this a few times, I would have heard that I'm going to make a shorthand here. So I'm going to say F for full beat, or let's do FB. Full beat, not Facebook, but you know. If I hear these eighth notes, I'm going to put 3E for 3 equal values, and then if I hear long short, I'm doing LS. If I do short long, I'm going to do SL. So here the first beat was a full beat. The second beat was 3 equal eighth notes, and then I heard the full beat again. So if I were to go ahead and notate this one, it would be like this. I'm going to do my stems up this time. I'm just kind of alternating that to give you practice on how to draw your notes with the stems going either up or down, because it can happen either way, and we'll learn more about notation as we work on more pitches later on. In my second measure, I heard long short, then 3 equal, whoops, I can't even remember my own shorthand, and then long short again. So I know that long short is 1/4 3 equals is 3/8, and long short again, 1/4 again. Now this is where it gets a little tricky, because this time, at the beginning of measure 3, I actually heard 2 notes again, but it wasn't the same as this one. It was the short note that came first. So I heard short long, and then full beat at the end. So remember, short long has the eighth note and then the quarter. Full beat is a dotted quarter note. So just like that. And that's how I would do that with the shorthand. So for this last one, go ahead and pick whichever method you think works better for you. You can also mix them up. You know, you can go ahead and write the grid, and then if you hear the groupings instead of the grid, you can use that too. So with dictations, it's really nice because you can have a lot of different kind of tools that you know how to use, and then you can just use whatever is working for you on that particular day or for that particular example. I'm not going to do anything to prepare the score. I'm only going to just perform it twice and then show you the answer. And so you can go ahead and do whatever helps you with this one. Remember that 12/8 is in 4. There are 4 beats in each measure, so I'm going to count off 2 measures of 4 before I begin. And then I will give you 2 hearings of this. So here's the first one. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Ta 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 ta. You can rewind if you want to hear it more. I'll go ahead and do the second time, and then I'll show you the answer. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Ta 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 ta. Here's your answer. Here's the full answer for the 12/8 example. I will say one of the things I think that is hardest about 12/8 is that there are so many beats in the measure. It sometimes can be hard with all that activity to remember what beat you're on. So it's really important that you're tapping the beat, or tapping your foot to the beat, or moving your body to the beat, something physically feeling the beat. It's very important that you do that during these so that you can not only feel where the beat lands, but also do something so that you can remember which beat it is you're on. So like I like to sometimes tap various fingers. I think I've showed this before, but I'll do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That way if I hear a certain rhythm and I can't remember what beat I'm on, my fingers will tell me. So especially when you end up with kind of more rhythmic activity and the ones that have more beats in a measure, I think that's really, really useful. And it's a good habit just to get into in general, to do that with all of them. Alright, well I hope that this video is helpful, and you will have a dictation assignment due that is just compound meter. You will only see these 3 meters, 6/8, 9/8, and 12/8. It'll be very similar to how we did the last one. So I'm looking forward to seeing how you guys do on this. And as always, let me know if you have any questions. Alright, I'll see you soon.